On August 28, 2003, local pizza delivery driver Brian Douglas Wells walked into his local bank with a bomb strapped to his chest that was set to detonate in 55 minutes. He walked up to the front counter of the bank and demanded $250,000. The workers in the back rushed to call 911 as Brian kept demanding. 15 minutes later, Brian exited the bank with $9,000 of the $250,000 he requested. Upon opening the doors to exit, Brian ran to his car. Brian was then instructed to follow a multi-step scavenger hunt to find the key to defuse the bomb. The criminal who operated the scheme made it genuinely impossible to complete these tasks before the bomb detonated. Around 2:50 p.m., police received the 911 call from the bank and tracked down Wells to a nearby location. He was sitting in his car in an Eyeglass World parking lot. Officers surrounded him, believing he might be a willing participant or threat. They sat Brian down in the parking lot, and he started pleading for his life. He kept saying the bomb was going to detonate and how he was forced to wear it. The police broke out in a panic, calling the bomb squad the second those words left his mouth. The bomb squad stated that they were 10 minutes away, but sadly, that was 10 minutes too late. At 3:18, the bomb started violently flashing and beeping. The officers quickly stepped back as Brian stared at them in helpless fear. A few seconds later, the bomb exploded. The bomb was a metal collar wrapped tightly around his neck. The bomb contained a kitchen timer, a circuit board, and 2 pipe bombs. The detonation of this highly dangerous explosive killed him nearly instantly. Emergency responders couldn't approach his mutilated body till they were certain that the bomb was deactivated. This whole entire scene was being broadcasted on live TV, as many helicopters were flying directly above him. Miss DeHale Armstrong was always a straight-A student. She also had rough past with many counts of different mental illnesses, including bipolar disorder and personality disorder. Miss Armstrong had 2 boyfriends that mysteriously disappeared while dating Miss Armstrong. Many speculated that they were killed by Miss Armstrong. These speculations were proved right when the bomber delivery led right back to her. Mrs. Armstrong was struggling financially. Her father was a really rich man, and she knew she was in the will. Mrs. Armstrong went to her good friend Kenneth, a well-known crack dealer. She told him that she was looking to assassinate her father, but was lacking money for it. Miss Armstrong proposed the idea of the pizza delivery bomb with the idea that Kenneth gets a cut of the cash. Kenneth had a friend named William. William was a handyman and also the ex-husband of Mrs. Armstrong. He was responsible for making the bomb. The 3 criminals spent weeks precisely planning this robbery and carefully constructing the bomb. Now they had one more box to check off: get Brian on board with the plan. The 3 criminals approached Brian with their plan and promised him a cut, and he was reluctantly on board. But they told one fatal lie: the bomb is a prop. "46-year-old Brian Wells woke up to go to his work, when at 1:30 p.m. they got an odd request. The caller requested a pizza to be delivered to a dirt road in the middle of nowhere. Brian obviously jumped at the opportunity, knowing exactly what was about to happen. Brian arrives at the destination and is immediately ambushed. The 3 criminals pounce on him, holding him down and forcing the bomb around his neck. At this moment, he realizes the truth of his situation. This bomb is not a prop. Brian is then escorted to the bank. He hops out of the car and walks in with fear in his eyes. What happens next has already been explained. But what was the aftermath? Soon after the death of Brian, everything fell apart. Miss Armstrong was stressing. James Roden, her current boyfriend, approached her with many questions. He then made the fatal mistake of accusing her of being linked with the robbery. This put her into a state of rage. She then grabbed a shotgun and shot James in the back of the head. She then contacted William and asked to put James in his freezer, where he would sit for weeks. Years later, the case is basically thrown away. They had no leads, no signs of anyone being behind it at all. All of a sudden, the police get a call. William was sobbing into the phone. He confessed to everything. He told them about the bomb and how the body is in his freezer. They took the 3 in, where 2 of them confessed, William and Kenneth. But Mrs. Armstrong seemed to follow a common phrase: deny, deny, deny. She kept denying every single claim and kept attempting to take control of the interrogations. This is where she had a major slip-up. She kept tripping over her own words, kept requesting interviews where she would say the same thing. She would make many claims that would contradict each other. This kept going until the police were fed up. They ruled Mrs. Armstrong guilty. Life in prison plus 30 years. For William, he died in 2004 before getting a definite sentence. Kenneth was sentenced to life originally, complied with the officers, and parole brought his sentence down to 45 years. At this point, Kenneth was already in his 50s. From this point on, he died in jail. So the moral of the story here is if you want money, don't put a bomb around someone's neck and make them rob a bank. Thank you guys for watching. I love you all. Goodbye.